Hello, darkness, my old friend. 49ers were 2-4, as I talked about earlier. Last place in the NFC West, tied with the freaking scum-sucking Seahawks. Just got blasted 30-18 by the Colts, which, guess what? Their defensive coordinator, now the head coach of the Bears. There's a lot of tie over here. There are a lot of similarities between the Bears and the 49ers, and we'll get into the X's and O's on a future episode later this week. We got you covered all week, by the way. It is a packed schedule, and we will have several episodes live in Chicago, which I'm excited about. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Now, Cardinals were 7-0, Rams were 6-1, and the 49ers are 2-4. Just left just behind. Remember, we had all the injuries to the secondary. Josh Norman was in full effect. We had, if you go to the week before the Bears game, 122 penalty yards against the Colts. It was awful. We went 1 for 11 on third downs. Offense was trash. Defense was trash. Special teams was trash. It was just, you're coming off probably the lowest point of the 49ers season. 2-4. Most teams don't make things 2-4. And I went back and looked it up. If you go 2-5, you have a 3% chance of making the NFL playoffs historically. Whereas if you win the Bears game, which they did, and went 3-4, that's a 19% chance to make the playoffs. I like those percentages. Hashtag Debo. And so, like, again, you go 2-5, the season's over. Like, you're done. And it felt that way. I was at that game. It was in Chicago at Soldier Field. It just felt awful. And where I was sitting, I was surrounded by Bears fans. It was me and a buddy, but we're surrounded by Bears fans. And I'll tell you this, one of my favorite things about Chicago, I felt like their fans, probably one of the more realistic fan bases out there. Part of it's because they haven't been good in a long time, but they're not like a trash talking fan base. I know that there are some, but man, I was having amazing conversations during the game with a whole bunch of different Bears fans. It was awesome. But the whole time it was just like, golly, man, we were bad. We were so bad. Kilted Niner fan says our secondary is way better this year. It's not even close. Even without Jimmy Ward, not even close. We were bad that year. We were really, really bad that year. And so at that point of the season, too, that was the low point of the season. We hadn't made the transition of Eric Armstead inside yet. Kinlaw was already out, and people were just gassing us, which, if you look at the Bears, they can run the ball relatively well. And so that's rough. That's rough. It was just bad. It was a bad point, man. Nick says over under 75 rush attempts versus the Bears. My winning stat almost every single game is 28 rush attempts. It's gonna be more. It's gonna be more. It's gonna be more. That's all there is to it. It's not gonna be a high scoring game. I think the over under is like 41 points, 41 and a half on Vegas. I'm betting the under. It's not gonna be a lot of points. It's not. I mean, there's not gonna be a lot of plays. Both teams want to run the ball and limit negative plays. And so it's gonna be a fast game as far as like time length, but it's gonna drag on a little bit. And that's okay, because I think that's kind of what the 49ers want. It's just what they want. Now, let's see here. He says a lot of the concern about the offensive line has been focused on its ability or lack thereof to protect Trey Lance. The real concern, will they be able to make some holes? And that's the way they built their team. Kilted, you said it, man. Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch don't care about pass protection near as much. Can you facilitate the zone Shanahan blocking scheme to perfection? If you can show you can do that, then you're like a cat. You get 9 lives. If you can't do that, and that's why we saw Sam Mills go, right? Again, what is their identity? What is one of their core values? Toughness, run blocking. You got to have it, even if you're a wide receiver. That's why Ayuk didn't play much last year early on, right? Until he bought into the run blocking thing. You got to have those things. They have to be there. Otherwise, this system doesn't work. It doesn't work. Now, everything looked bad. Defense was getting shredded by Fields. It was just bad all over. I think Fields had his best game all of last year, his rookie year, against us. He played very, very well. Kept his team not only like in the game, they were winning. We were down 9 to 16 in the third quarter. Like halfway through, like we were not doing well. We got backed up, and I'm gonna play this clip for you. I re-recorded this morning, going back through the game tape. So this is with today's eyes on last year's game. Okay, so it's a quick clip, but I think I narrated it somewhat well to where even if you're listening to audio, this is the turning point, not of the game, which it was, the Bears game, of the freaking season. Of the season. Ugh. You know, I recently got asked what was the main difference between the 49ers last year and this year in the Bears game. You got to remember, 49ers were losing. They were 2-4 heading into this game, down 7 points. Things were not looking good at all. And it's 3rd and 20, backed up inside your own 15-yard line. Things were awful. We were kicking field goals. It wasn't working great. We didn't even have Robbie Gould. Things were bad. And then you got this play, 3rd and 20. You get the ball out to Deebo Samuel, and you just let Deebo do his thing. This is where the season turned from 2-4 to NFC Championship. If I had to pick one play that signified the turn, it was right here. From a bad football team to a good football team, Deebo Samuel, the MVP of the 2021 49ers season, just took over. Now, it's not just him on this play. I mean, the quarterback throw, whatever, it's just a quick, whatever. Jimmy G was bad in this game to this point, but it's the offensive line. It's the blocking downfield. It's the allowing your studs. I mean, you can see right here, you're about to get a pancake from the big man. We've got everybody out blocking in front. Look at Dwelly got the cutoff block. Ayuk. You've got Brunskill, Mack, who's no longer with us, Lakin, who's no longer with us, but Deebo just kind of takes over. And so, again, you just look at where the season changed. This is it right here. You were about to be a 2-5 football team, but Deebo said, and he went and got it. Absolutely incredible. I'm expecting Deebo to have a big game. Bears defense is better. You even see Tyshawn Gibson out there, which is interesting because now he's with us. But this was the turning point last year. Can it be something like that again where the 49ers maybe don't start off on the wrong foot, which they have been notorious for under Kyle Shanahan? But I'm excited about this game. It's a different tune for the 49ers. Bears still in the same place, though. Oh, man, that's fun. Man, I don't know. I love film. I love big plays, and it's very rare that you can kind of put your finger on it. Like, oh, that was the moment. That was it right there. Everything changed there. Everything changed. You look at the 49ers went on to win 4 out of their next 5 and 6 out of their next 7 from that point, counting the Bears game, right? So you go from 2-4, you won 2 out of 6 games to winning 6 out of 7 games. Like, it was just a switch.
The 49ers Rush Podcast.